All right, well, the chain reaction has officially begun with Trayvon Walker getting selected at first overall. Aidan Hutchinson is now here for the taking for the Detroit Lions, and I'm happy for all my Lions friends. Shout out Luke G's Field Review. Check out his channel if you want to hear more in-depth stuff about the Lions, draft and everything. But I think this is a great move from their perspective. He's my favorite player in this draft class, so getting him at number 2 helps, especially when I'm sure for a while they felt like this wasn't even a realistic possibility of what was going to happen. All of a sudden, the past few days, it shifted from everyone thinking Hutchinson was going first overall to everyone thinking Walker was going first overall. Walker does go first overall, and now Hutchinson here for the taking for the Detroit Lions, and I just love this move. I think that he's such an incredible talent, and quite frankly, I feel like the Lions could use someone like this. So this is kind of it's a perfect fit. They needed some help on that defense. They still need some help, but Hutchinson, definitely a great first start, in my opinion. One thing I just really like about Hutchinson is he's someone who he has a ton of moves. He's someone who, and quite frankly, he just always seemingly wins. And again, I'm going to talk about production because production is very important when talking about edge rushers. Production and how well what's your pressure percentage, what's your pass rush win rate, these kind of nerdy stats that most people don't look at. They just look at sacks, which is not a great measure of production. If you look at kind of these advanced statistics, they do a great job at correlating heavily with guys who do well at those statistics at the college level tend to do well with those statistics at the NFL level. So that's part of why I like Hutchinson is he checks all those boxes, all those advanced stats boxes. He does a great job. When I watched his film, I thought his film outperformed those good numbers. I thought his film was even better than that, quite frankly. I really like his film. I think his film is awesome. He's someone who, even his losses, it feels like the opposing player got lucky. Like he reminded me of, I made this comparison, and I think it's a good comparison, of he's like the guy when you play pickup basketball who takes defense way too seriously. Like you're just all shooting around and he's on you the whole game. That's what Aidan Hutchinson is. He's fiery, and he's someone who will absolutely just, every play, you'll notice him. Whether it's him, winning or whether it's him not winning, you do notice him. And again, I know that there's that one viral clip of him getting pushed to the ground against, I believe it was Georgia, that everyone says, oh, look at this. That's one clip. He wins a ton. He's a constant threat to really do some damage, and he is someone who I can see some TJ Watt comparisons. I can see why he gets compared to the Watt brothers a little bit. Not saying he'll be as good as those guys, but I see why the comparisons get made, especially with TJ Watt's inside pass rush move and how he can win in a phone booth kind of way. I see that with Hutchinson at times as well. I do think Hutchinson is underratedly explosive. We all know his strength, and that's kind of well documented. We all know his hands, and his hands are another way that he can win a lot, which that tends to be how you win at the NFL level. It's how he won at the college level, was just being able to get tackles' hands out of position, and I still think he's explosive. The reality is, all of this athletic stuff, people are saying, oh, well, he's not the athlete Trayvon Walker is. Literally, no one is the athlete Trayvon Walker is. There has never been a person who has been as athletic as Trayvon Walker. He is one of one in terms of the athlete stuff. Again, I don't love his production and all of that stuff, but in terms of the athleticism, Walker is incredible. Aidan Hutchinson's not that far off from him. They're pretty similar. I mean, Walker had a better 40 time, but other than that, and I guess he has longer arms as well, which we can talk about arm length if you want. Arm length does not concern me in the slightest. And the reason why I'm not concerned about arm length is because I haven't seen clear evidence to show that it matters. At least with first round talents, I did a whole study on arm length, and it seems like it doesn't really matter that much. Guys who have shorter arms and are drafted in the first round perform about as well as guys who have long arms. Really, if you have over, I believe it's over 35-inch arms, then that tends to be a good quality. But other than that, it's not a negative to have short arms from the research that I've done, which, again, it was kind of a smaller sample size because I only went back, I think it was five or 10 years, I forget which. So maybe that was too small of a sample size. But from what I've done, the arm length does not concern me whatsoever. And that's really the only concern people have with Aidan Hutchinson is his little baby T-Rex arms, right? Everything else is incredible. I mean, he checks off all the boxes in terms of the advanced stats. I think his tape is really good, and he's a great athlete too. He really is. So he checks off every single box. The only real negative I have with Hutchinson as a player is I feel like sometimes he didn't realize it was a handoff. He was still pass rushing when it was actually, the ball was in the halfback's hands, which, okay, like, that's not ideal. You'd like to get better at that. Who knows if he will be able to, because guys don't always get better at that kind of stuff, but maybe, guys do as well. So that's kind of the one, like, nitpick I have with him. Other than that, I have no real issue with him. And again, I think you can make an argument that there's other people who can do better things than Aidan Hutchinson. I think you can look at Kayvon Thibodeau and say, well, he does this move better than Hutchinson. Like, his speed rush is probably going to be a better move than Aidan Hutchinson's speed rush is at the NFL level. Probably fair. But at the end of the day, I think Hutchinson, 8 out of 10 traits with any of these guys you put him up against, he's going to win. That's kind of my thought on this. Another cool thing about Hutchinson is he's only 21 years old. So, like, he's a young guy. And again, one thing I've heard about Hutchinson is, well, what's his ceiling, right? His dad played in the NFL. He got great coaching under Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. So is he really going to get that much more polished? That's probably fair. I think he probably is going to be like what he is now. But again, part of my counter is, well, what he is now is really good, and there's no risk factor there. Whereas with, a huge extent, Walker, and even a smaller extent, Thibodeau, you still have kind of that, like, okay, well, we have to teach him up. Like, we are going to have to, help him out on some things. Whereas Hutchinson might not have to do that too much. But also, Hutchinson can still, like, when you're 21, like, you still have a little bit of time to grow into your body a little bit more and get even bigger and stronger, which is scary because he's already pretty big and pretty strong. But he has the ability to even get better at that stuff, which is cool. And that's kind of, again, another thing that I like about Hutchinson. So there are some, again, I get the argument against Hutchinson, but I don't know. It just feels like it's such a, like, if you make this pick, he's not going to suck. Like, you're getting 4 quality years of cheap production for an edge rusher that should be a really good player. It just seems, he seems almost bust-proof in a weird way. Like, I almost feel like he is someone who just, like, I don't know if he can't miss necessarily, but it seems small. See, the odds of him missing, it seems small to me, which is why, because again, can't miss? Everyone could miss, but I'd be very surprised if he's a bust. I really would. And especially when he's going to a team here where, let's be honest, isn't exactly the pinnacle of NFL success these past couple of years. People have talked about his great leadership. I don't know. I never really get into that stuff because who knows? That's such a, it's impossible to say with that stuff. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just that, like, I don't know if it exists kind of thing. So I just write it off as nothing. But, that's if that's true and you feel that way, that's an added plus for sure, and something you can get excited about if you're a fan, if nothing else. So that's cool. And I just think he's someone who can be a staple of a defense I always view this stuff as you're getting them for 4 years or a 5th year if you get the 5th year option. After that, who knows? Because even if you keep him, you're going to have to pay him big money. But for at least these next 4 or 5 years, you should have a very quality player who should help your defense out a lot. So that's what I think about all of this Aidan Hutchinson stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Aidan Hutchinson and on this draft pick? It's again, interesting draft, a wild draft. It's only going to get crazier from here, so it should be fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.